how are ya? I hope you're doing great. Today's video is a little bit different than what I normally do. A couple of weeks ago, I created a video for my Spanish channel where I showed one picture and I spoke about it, described it, and spoke for a while so that whoever was watching could either relax, sleep, or even meditate. And I thought that I could do the same for this channel, but instead of showing just one picture, I would like to share with you a couple of different pictures that I took from places that are here in Galicia, which is where I am from. In case you don't know, Galicia is a part of Spain, specifically the part of Spain that stays on top of Portugal, and that's where I come from. Before we start, I would like to remind you to leave me a comment in the comment section down below, letting me know if you enjoy this kind of videos and you would like for me to make similar videos to this in the future. And also, I would like to ask you if you would prefer that I kept a consistent schedule, meaning making always a video every single week, even if I don't have anything prepared, just like last week when I had to make that shorter video talking about what's on my mind. Or would you prefer that if I don't have a video that I deem of quality for my channel, that I skip a week and only bring you like a more worked on type of video? Let me know in the comment section down below. And now allow me to tell you about the picture you can see on your screen right now. This is a small beach in a place called San Xenxo here in Galicia, which is a pretty famous place because it is a vacation destination. It is usually filled with tourists from all over Spain and also all over Europe. And this picture was taken by me last week around the 24th of March, when obviously spring starting. We have sunny days, but there's still not a lot of people, so we had this moment of calm before vacation starts. And as you can tell, it's pretty obvious why everyone wants to come to these places, because we have crystal clear water, soft and warm sand, and beautiful views all over the place. As you can tell, there's no pollution because most of our sea and places that face the sea is protected by the European Agency for nature protection. I don't know exactly their name in English, but this most of natural places here in Galicia are protected because we have a pretty good nature and really important for the environment. So not only we are forced to be respectful with nature, because we get really high fines if we pollute, but also we have a big program for cleaning natural spaces such as the beach, the mountains, the seas. And if you look at the bottom part of this picture, we have really big rocks where you can actually walk on them, but it is just one huge rock. In Galician we call this a lache, which means basically big stone. So this is very typical from here. We also have groups of rocks that stay together where you can walk on them, and also groups of lashes, big stones that are together that can actually be utilized to walk on them, to lay your towel and lay on top of them if there's no space on the sand, or maybe you don't like to lay on the sand, you can lay on a lache. The only problem might be that if the sea is growing, you might find yourself being covered by the water and getting all your stuff wet. But usually the people who live there are able to warn those who are coming when it could be in their best interest not to stay really close to the sea, because the sea might try to get your phone to call a friend and get it a little bit wet. Also, if you look to the background, you can tell that the other side is covered in green. That is something also very typical from here, which is having trees and different types of nature near the sea. We will see that in other pictures, but it's something that we are used to. Actually, in short, our land is blue, green, all mixed up together. And if you ever come here to San Xenxo, I hope you find this place and let me know if you've recognized where I took this picture. In case you can tell, the water is blue, really blue, and reflects the green around it. That's why it has such a beautiful color. And now we have different picture from a different place. This is the beach of La Lanzada, which is a beach also here in Galicia that is a couple of kilometers long. We also went to visit it last week before all the tourists started to come, and here we can see that when the water doesn't have the green around it, it looks as blue as the sky. In this beach you can walk and walk and walk and barely cross any paths with people. We actually had the opportunity to lower our masks because we had enough space not to cross with anyone, and when we did, everyone was respectful enough to put them up. And also there was not much people. We barely crossed paths with 2 or 3 people. And this is another place really famous here in Galicia, which during summer gets filled up with tourists from all over Spain, all over Europe, and especially from Galicia. Everyone goes to La Lanzada and it ends up filled with people. As you can see from the right bottom part, the sand is also very white. This one was a little bit more yellow because it was getting wet. The sea was coming up. We actually got ourselves a little bit more wet than what we expected because we didn't notice how fast it was coming up. But I will not complain from being able to be at the beach near the sea and enjoying this beautiful view. This is also a pretty touristic place where there are many activities that you can enjoy. We actually passed a karting circuit. It seemed closed, but that should tell you that many tourists come here. If you look at the background, that is part of the beach. The beach actually goes all around and up until the end of that. I don't know if you can see it, but it actually comes out into the sea. Well, all of that is part of this beautiful beach. The water is pretty cold and the waves are pretty strong. Actually, there's a lot of surfers who come here and windsurfers that use the big well, you know what's windsurfing, okay? And this was a pretty calm day, even though you can see in the picture the clouds that were starting to show. They didn't even show on person. You can only see them in the pictures, and there was barely any wind, and still the waves were pretty strong at the feet of those of us who were walking around. In this picture you can see that there is no pollution at all, even though by walking around the beach we did find some garbage that was brought by the sea, which we don't know where it came from, but obviously whoever threw it away did not think much about where it might end. So if you ever wonder if you should throw something away out in the sea, you should know that it always ends up ashore, either at a beach or an island or somewhere where other people live. So if you don't have where to throw it away, keep it with you until you find a place to dispose of it, please. Those of us who care about nature would thank you. And now we are going to see a different picture from a different day. And this is another beach here in Galicia. This is a place called Cape Udra, U-D-R-A, and this is the beach on said place. This place is not as famous as the other two that we've seen. This is around the village called Bueu, and is a little bit hidden from plain view. It takes a quite longer car trip through pretty curvy roads, and a little bit hidden. Not a lot, but it's kind of harder to get there. Also, you can tell that the water is crystal clear. At the deepest side is blue, and you can pick a little bit of green here and there, because this little beach is hidden between the sides of the mountains, so it's way smaller than La Lanzada, and it's surrounded by nature, rocks, trees, and all that stuff. It's kind of hidden from the rest of the place, but it's still, as you can tell, crystal clear water, soft and warm sands. This place is not in the protected list, but also you can tell that there's barely any pollution. In this picture there's no pollution at all. By walking a little bit away from this place, you could actually see a little bit of garbage, but like I told you before, sometimes the sea brings back humans the things that we throw at it. And this little corner of Galicia was the first time that I visited it. I had heard of it, but I had never gone there. And I was pretty happy I got to see something so beautiful. You can tell that this beach is more protected from the strong seas because it's almost completely surrounded by land. So the waves, even though they are pretty long, when they come into land they go pretty far up, but they are not as strong at the other place, so there's less danger of you getting wet or your stuff getting wet without you noticing before it happens. In here we actually found some beautiful shells, seashells of course, that we don't sell at the seashore, but we actually keep them at home and they are pretty nice for decoration and as a free souvenir. And if you ever come here, feel free to take a little bit of a seashell or some rock that you find beautiful in order to remind you of the beautiful places that you've been at. Always remember to take your own garbage with you and put it in the right place, or else the sea will make sure some other human gets wherever you put in it. And we shall take care of the sea and of nature in general. We need to take care of the place where we live in. If you look at the bottom right corner, you can actually see some marks of foot going from where we were sitting into the sea, because obviously whenever you go to a beach you need to put your feet in the water to see what the temperature is like. Always make sure to know the temperature of the sea. And always remember to enjoy your surroundings, especially when you are in nature. Enjoy the sounds, the smells, the warmth or the cold, whatever it is where you are, and take everything in. This is the right side of the last picture we saw. As you can tell, this is the ending of the mountain with the rocks and the mosh, I think it's called, the green stuff that covers rocks. But in here you can tell a greener tone to the sea because it's reflecting that green on the mountain. You can also see the finishing place of the footprints going down to the sea, and a lot of rocks following the path of the sea, because all the rocks that fall from the mountain get brought back to land, as you can tell, and with enough time they would turn into sand. As always, the circle of life is not only about cute lions running around. The circle of life is also about the sea making more sand, the mountains moving, living, changing, and all that stuff that we don't think about when we think of the circle of life, but they are actually a part of it. Because if the sea ran out of sand to keep moving, it would start coming more and more into the land. So this way the rocks, the seashells and all that stuff become sand with time. And us humans need to respect that cycle instead of polluting our seas, our land, our food. We need to figure out a way to keep all these natural places safe and keep them from turning into mountains of garbage, so that the future generations can actually share these experiences with us of seeing the sea going to Cape Udra, to the beach of La Lanzada or to San Xenxo, and be able to see the same nature that we have seen, instead of just watching this kind of videos or pictures. They should be able to go to the same places and enjoy the same nature. But if we keep ruining it with pollution, there will be no natural places for them to visit, and they will have to go to museums where they have images or virtual reality for them to see what nature used to look like. So, yeah, in this picture you cannot see the damage that humans have made, but we all know it's there. And we need to remember that we are responsible for what we leave behind. And even though we cannot see it, we are a part of the environment, and we need to make sure that we take care of it, or else these pictures will be what we have left of some of the most beautiful places on earth. If you take a look around you, you will notice that the places that used to be there when you were younger are changing, are no longer how they were. But ask yourself this: are those changes part of the circle of life, or are those changes made by human hands and basically ruining what was there before? Because all of us have the ability to prevent part of those things, and we should do it if we appreciate the beautiful things around us. Now we can see the left side of the beach, and as you can tell, there is the end of the mountain, and it's filled with trees and a different type of nature. In this picture, it's harder to appreciate the color of the sea. It's mostly blue, but because the sun was on top of us, the colors are a little bit washed out. But when looked at it in person, it's way more green, way bluer, and the sand was less yellow and more white. The sand also reflects the color of the sun. And as you can tell, in this picture we have several different elements from the nature. We have trees, we have grass, we have rocks, we have mulch, we have sand, we have the sea, we have clouds, and we have the sky. There's so many different aspects of nature in just one picture. And these last 3 pictures I took sitting exactly in the same place. It's amazing how you can enjoy all these different aspects of nature from just one single spot. And this is something that I really love about being from Galicia. We actually have so much nature that we can enjoy way different aspects of nature from just one spot. If you sit at any place, you can actually find different things that represent different types of nature, all in the radius of wherever you are sitting. Obviously, this doesn't happen in the middle of a city, but you just need to drive a little bit outside of any place where there are people living, and you will find beautiful places just like this. And most of them are not filled with people, because most of them are hidden gems, such as this one. Even though it is a little bit famous, there's also actually pretty near to it a place called the Enchanted Forest, where it is obviously a forest, but there was an animation movie based on said place, and they created a beautiful place for imitating the movie so people could visit it. So there is touristic attractions near this, but still, because it's kind of harder to get there, it is less known and also less attractive to a lot of people. So if you ever visit, make sure to be nice to the nature and remember to be civilized and not leave anything of yours behind. If you look at the rocks that we can see in the middle of the picture, those are actually hiding a secret. Right behind them there's another little beach, even smaller than the one that I was on. It was even more hidden from the sea and from other people's eyes. So when we got closer, we saw that there was people there bathing in the sun. So we decided to turn around and not go there. But I can tell you that Galicia is the land of secret beautiful places that you can find if you just let yourself get lost and follow wherever nature takes you. And now we are going to see the last picture of this video, which was taken here in Cape Udra, but from the top of the mountain. As you can tell, the sea looks way different. You can see it, the deep blue. You can also see that as it gets closer to the mountain, it starts reflecting the green, and you can see all of that land is the coast of Galicia around the sea. From the top of the mountain you could actually feel more of the strength of the air. You can also see that there are different types of trees and plants, and if you look down at the sea where the mountain meets the sea, you have very round big rocks that have been hit by waves for many centuries, and each and every time they get rounder, they get softer, and at some point they will also become sand. Here you can notice that the waves are way stronger than they seemed at the beach, and that's because all this land that we can see is what is protecting those little beaches from the the strength of the sea. This kind of place is actually pretty common here in Galicia. There are many capes with beautiful places and beaches and mountains and forests, and all these amazing things live together around the same place. So, as you can tell, this is just a little part of where I come from, and I hope these pictures can give you an idea of why this is considered an enchanted land where magical things happen, and the people who are from here, even when we travel all around the world, we have this thing called morriña, which means, you might have heard it translated to being homesick, but being homesick doesn't begin to explain what it feels like when you are feeling morriña. Morriña is a sentiment where you miss your land, but only when your land looks as beautiful as this one. It doesn't matter where you live, if you live like me near the sea, or up in the mountains, or in the middle of Galicia, you will always miss your land, your home. And maybe it is not about being homesick, but about missing the magic that lives all around us. I will admit, we are kind of strange people, and I think it's partially because of that magic that we are used to have around. So, we are near the end. As always, remember to leave a comment. If you have any doubts, critics, questions, or anything you wanna say, let me know in the comment section down below, through my social media, Twitter at Iria Te Ayuda, Facebook Iria Te Ayuda, Instagram Iria Te Ayuda Inst, Tumblr Iria Te Ayuda, or if you prefer it, you can email me at iriamatch@gmail.com. If you liked it and you wanna see more videos like this, please subscribe and turn on the notification bell to be notified every single time I upload. Thank you for watching this video, and see you next time.